which is coming up Sunday against the Caps in D.C. at 3 o'clock. Day one of training camp, the John Tortorella skate test is in the rearview mirror, and I'm sure a lot of players not only are going to sleep good tonight from exhaustion, but going to sleep good tonight not having that in their future hanging over their head. I imagine that skate test causes some anxiety going into it. Like, oh, God, I got to deal with this. How am I going to handle it? Am I going to pace myself properly and all of that stuff and ultimately do what the only required thing is to finish it? Well, they got it done. That is now in the rearview mirror. Scrimmages coming up today at the Flyers Skate Zone and tomorrow. And again, all in advance of what is going to take place Sunday is the first preseason game. And then Monday, right back at it, they're going to take on the Montreal Canadiens on the road before returning home for their home opening preseason game on Thursday. So a lot of work to be done between now and when the season starts, and it is underway. Great to see everybody in camp and healthy. Saw Rasmus Ristolainen out there for his skate test, and he looked like he was moving great. Said in his media availability, he's 100% and ready to go. Sean Couturier saying minor surgery. Not all abdominal or core surgeries are the same. It was just a minor one for him, and he's 100% and ready to go. We're going to hear from the Flyers captain in just a moment. Jamie Drysdale, who we're also going to hear from in this episode in just a moment. Good to be back out there. Got through the skate. First time doing it. He said, his teammates built it up pretty good, that it was going to be tough, and it was. So we have three different conversations in this episode. First, we're going to hear from Flyers captain Sean Couturier. Then we're going to hear from the aforementioned Jamie Drysdale. And I'm just going to give you a little tip on something you'll hear, I think it's right away in the Jamie Drysdale interview, about how much muscle he put on in the offseason. I noticed it right away when he had his media availability that he looked much bigger upstairs. So you'll hear from him the actual measurables on that. And then we'll also hear from veteran defenseman, the oldest player on the team, and that would be Erik Johnson. And we get some really good insight into the ebbs and flows of team development coming from a rebuild. Great players. He certainly played with some in Colorado. Nathan McKinnon, for example, Cale Makar, and others. So we'll get some great insight from Erik Johnson as well. And I didn't know that when he grows up, he wants to be a broadcaster. We talk about that also. But let's get to our first conversation. We had a chance to sit down with the Flyers captain after the skate. Here's my conversation with Sean Couturier. We are at Flyers main camp and joined by the captain, Sean Couturier. I know you just finished the skate. How'd you get through it?
Got through it. That's all that matters. I don't know how, but I got through it.
Is that one of those things where you go, okay, I'm good to be in the first session because the sooner I start it, the sooner I get done it?
Yeah, I don't know if there's any really technique or preparation for that one, but you can see it that way, or it was an early morning too to get ready. But no matter what, it's done. Day one's done. Now I can just focus on, I guess, play hockey, play with that little black thing there on the ice.
That was your second time doing the rope, and is there an anxiety that comes the day before, the couple days leading into it, going, oh man, this is the way we're going to start? I can't wait till that part's over. We just get the hockey.
Yeah, for sure. I think everyone's anxiety kind of builds up over the last 3 weeks leading up to this, and everyone just wants to get it done with and play hockey. So, yeah, looking forward to tomorrow and start some practice scrimmages and get going.
I know you had some cleanup with a lower abdominal surgery this offseason. How did that go? What was the recovery like? I know you had one about a decade ago.
Yeah, it went really well. Yeah, after 2 weeks, I was ready to go again, felt like. But, yeah, it's just minor fix to get back to feeling normal. And I'm glad I did it. Had a good summer of training with that, after the rehab and all that stuff. So it was a long summer, so I had time to really fix my body and get ready for this year, and looking forward to it.
Coots, a lot of times, those lower abdominal injuries, they can really limit you as, the way you skate, the way you move on the ice. Was it limiting you last year in the second half? I know you don't like to make excuses, but we can be honest here.
Yeah. No, I don't want to make excuses, but it's one of those things where you kind of, you can fight through it. You can do some maintenance, some rehab, and kind of last that for a while. But I feel as time goes by, you kind of change yourself. You kind of adapt. You don't feel really natural anymore. And I thought it was better to just get it done with, fix it, and move on. Yeah, I'm glad I did it. I feel good now, and I can just focus on playing hockey.
You're very aware that there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of buzz right now with Matt Vey coming over. Team very similar to last year. In the beginning of last year, you guys got off to a good start. You did individually as well, and that created a lot of belief in the dressing room early. Maybe if you didn't have a real good start, maybe that belief never comes about. How important is it for you guys to get off to a good start, starting with this camp?
Yeah, I think we gotta set the tone. Obviously, I think it's different than last year. Teams are going to be a little more ready for us, maybe not take us as lightly. I think we've established a culture that we're going to be hard to play against on every night, and it's up to us to really keep pushing that pace and improving our game, and like you said, get off to a good start would be huge and important for our confidence and build from there.
One of the big elements this offseason, going back to your awareness, was obviously the discussions about Travis Konechny. Is he going to be traded? Is he going to be extended? Ultimately, he gets the 8-year extension. To have him back and here now, obviously, for what looks like the remainder of his career, that trickles down through the locker room.
Yeah, definitely, especially when you're in somewhat of a rebuild and, your best players has a year left, and me, especially personally, I'm excited. I'm getting older, and to see that he's staying here for a while, and that he wants to win here, it's awesome. That's what you want. He's a big part of this rebuild, and yeah, it's exciting.
You've gotten to do some of the captain skates over the last couple of weeks with Matt Vey and Jetlichenko. Give me some impressions on each of those two guys. Start with Matt Vey, because the stick is really short, but really good puck protection ability.
Yeah, he seems to be really high skill. Can make some plays. Loves to come to the rink and work on his game and skate out there. He seems to be one of those guys where he's dedicated to the game. He's on the ice early. One of the last guys to leave the ice. So he seems to have the right attitude. I think it's early to name drop or compare him, but I'm excited to play with a player with such high skill. I played with the Girouxs, the Voraceks, and those guys, and he's up there skill wise. So, but it's important to not put too much pressure on him. He's coming to North America probably for the first time, and he's only 19. Language is totally different, so he's got a lot of new stuff, new things going on in his life, and he's got to adapt. But I think he's going to be a big part of this future for sure.
One of the great Russian-born players, Nikita Kucherov. It took him 4 years to become a point-per-game player. It doesn't just happen overnight. Let me ask you about Lichenko. The skating obviously pops right away. Physically, he looks much older than he is. He was the youngest player in the draft, but a player that seems to have a good hockey IQ on him. What have you seen out of him?
Yeah, I haven't skated a whole lot with him. I think he was at his probably junior camp or so, but saw him a little bit the rookie games. Heard about him. He seems, like you said, seems to be a mature kid with a good skating ability. These all these young guys, they have a chance to become a big part of this organization. It's exciting to see what they can do down the road and let them grow into the player they can be. But he definitely, I think, had a good first impression, that's for sure.
I know some of the chatter is that, well, maybe he should make the team this year. I think you're the last first-round pick that made the team in your draft year. You didn't go play junior. You didn't obviously play any AHL time. How hard of a jump is that at that age, draft year? And he's a young draft year, too. It's not an easy ask.
No, it's not easy. It's all new, especially when you're 18, 19. You're going to live on your own. You're going to
Or live in Danny's basement.
Yeah. No, but you're around grown men. Some guys have families. It's the beginning of life on your own, really. So and then you gotta play hockey also. So it's about being professional and learning the professional lifestyle, I guess, on a daily.
How to carry yourself.
Yeah, on a daily basis. It's one thing to play hockey, but you like you said, you got to carry yourself the proper way around here, and it's not easy. You got to be put in the right spot, the right situation at the right time, given opportunities. And it's hard to compare because there's always different situations and different opportunities at any given time. I feel when I was young, we had a great team offensively, and I kind of took on that more of a defensive role. If I wanted to stick around, I had to really adapt my game a little bit and be more reliable defensively and to get some more minutes. And but these young guys coming in, they're getting maybe a different opportunity today just because we're more in a rebuild and reconstruction. So maybe they'll get more opportunities offensively, but then again, you want them to be ready. You don't want to ruin their confidence. I think that's the key thing there. It's these guys could probably make it out of juniors really, but you don't want to in the long term development, you gotta, I guess, evaluate if it's the right thing or not, I guess.
I imagine that in that first year for you, if you go back to that, you had moments of crisis of confidence. I'm a first round pick and I come into this league. This league's very unforgiving. But you have guys that'll help you through that.
Yeah, and especially what I found out over the years is really being consistent for 82 games. It's hard. It's you play every 2-3 days. I remember my first year. I think I went on a 5-game goal streak early on in the year, and I was like, "Wow,
it's easy.
This league's easy. I'll score 30 this year," and I didn't score for the next 25. I think so. I think this league will bring you down to earth real quick if you don't respect it, and that's the thing. You don't want to. That's the thing. You got to stay level key and take what's given to you.
Control what you can control.
Yeah.
Cooch, you look well. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
Great to catch up with Sean Couturier. Appreciate him taking the time after what is a grueling skate, and looking forward to seeing him through camp and then obviously to start the season. He got off to a really good start last year. Obviously the second half slowed him down. Really kind of hit a wall and just couldn't find the net, couldn't find the back of the net, and his production dropped off. So be interesting to see how he starts this season and who he's going to be playing with. Is he a logical guy to play with, Matvei Michkov? We'll see. If he doesn't get Michkov, he's probably going to get Travis Konechny. So not a bad thing. All right, let's get to our second conversation from day one of Flyers training camp. Jamie Drysdale came in last year in that trade, obviously, with Cutter Gauthier, along with a second-round pick. And, it's hard maybe sometimes to really get acclimated when you've been traded in the middle of an NHL season, trying to get all your stuff in order and everything that goes along with that off the ice. And then also you don't have a training camp to kind of get the systems under your belt right away. It's hard to do that in the middle of a season, especially at the point when he came. There's just not a ton of practice time. But he stayed here all summer, coming back from a surgery, and he put on a lot of muscle. Here's my conversation with Flyers defenseman Jamie Drysdale. Flyers main camp is underway. All the skating tests are done, and joining us right now, post-skating test, is Jamie Drysdale. How was it?
It lived up to everything that you can imagine that I've heard about. It was real hard physically and mentally, but it's done now. Everyone had to do it, and just looking forward to the rest of camp. The
anticipation that it's coming is maybe makes it more difficult, doesn't it?
100%. Yeah. It's not fun. I'd say probably starting about 2 weeks out. I don't know if this is healthy or not, but I think everyone starts talking about it, bringing it up, and trying to figure out some strategies. What are you going to do? What turns, crossovers, whatnot? And
you take a wide line or a tight line?
At the end of the day, after going through it for the first time, I don't think any of that really matters, to be honest with you. It's gonna be hard regardless, but we all have to go through it.
Well, here's the good news. 365 days from now is the next one. You got a whole season in front of you. I know you had the surgery this off season. What was the rehab process like, and getting the body to where you need it to be right now?
Yeah, it was good. It was hard. It was just like kind of any rehab process. Took a bit of time. Just worked real hard with the trainers here. They put in a lot of hours with me, and I'm real thankful for that. It was a good rehab. I'm glad I stayed here for the whole summer and kind of had that attention and hands on. I'm feeling good going into the year.
I don't know if it's me or not. Maybe I just haven't seen you since the the end of last season, but it looks like you put on some more muscle, especially up top.
Yeah. I'd say, I don't know what it said on anywhere, but I played last year probably around 178, 180 on a good day, and now I'm probably sitting 196.
No, that much. Wow.
Yeah. So it was a good off season. Bulked up a little bit, feel strong. So we had a great group stay out here. Yorkie, Beezer, Tice, Garney was out here. Bob was out here for a good portion. Guys came back early, so good group out here. So it made it all worthwhile.
What does that do for your state of mind, knowing that I'm bigger and stronger?
Yeah, it obviously helps. I think as a player you have to find that sweet spot where you feel comfortable playing at. I obviously haven't played at this weight. The heaviest I've ever played is probably 182, if that. So it's kind of a give and take. Feel it out. Feel what you feel most comfortable at. But I feel good. I'm sure. We'll see. Go from there. But I'm feeling strong. Feeling good.
How is it? This is different than when you got here last year, because you come in the middle of a season. We've talked about that. You packed a bag to Nashville and warm weather climates, and the next thing you know, you're going on a Canadian trip. Yep. Now you've really had all the time to get settled. You stayed here all summer. You're really comfortable with the facilities, people, everything. That's got to be settling heading into this season too. Absolutely.
I think just going through the process kind of as it should be gone through is nice, and it's nice to just feel that and feel good mentally and physically. The group of guys here is unbelievable. So looking forward to playing a season with them.
No more GPS to get to the practice rink? You're good now?
No, I can confirm there's no more GPS.
That's a good feeling. Let me ask you about the group of guys. Mm-hmm. You and I talked about it before we began taping. But you guys have a lot of players 25 and under. I think 10 you mentioned. But you guys seem to really have a bond on and off the ice. And that off the ice part, I think, is so important. I saw so much of you guys hanging out this summer. Sometimes teams disband and everybody goes their own way, not you guys.
Yeah, no, it's an unbelievable group here. It's not cliquey at all. I think, which isn't the case everywhere. You can literally go up to anyone, have as many conversations as you want comfortably, which doesn't happen all the time. It's a great group, comfortable group, I think that's going to help a lot.
I know you guys worked hard this summer, but you played a little hard too, which is fun. A guy like Joel Farabee loves going to the Phillies game. I know you were there as well. Yeah. What's it been like to kind of take that in Philadelphia?
Yeah, it's been awesome. The city's awesome. I'd like to went out to a few Phillies games. Would like to get out to an Eagles game at some point. That'd be really cool. I think I've said it since day one. Being in a true sports city where where everyone cares about it, heavily. It's real refreshing and it's nice to be a part of.
There's a vibe in that ballpark, and you feel it with that team and Harper and all the pieces, the best team in baseball. So it really kind of gives you guys I want to get that vibe back in the Wells Fargo Center, where we're thought of as that team. It's kind of championship or bust.
Yeah, 100%. I think you see the environment. Even when you're winning, when stuff's good. And when it's not good. I think the only thing as a player you want is passionate fans that care. So I think that just makes you want to produce and succeed more, a lot more, and it's real nice playing in front of these fans. And
you played with Nick Seeler last year. I imagine you'll start the season with him again. He provides you something. He provided for Sean Walker before Walks was traded, but he'll provide you with this same kind of you know where he's going to be. He's going to defend, and it frees you up to do some things offensively.
Yeah, he's a dog. He's a dog, and I'm real lucky to, have played and potentially continue to play with him. I'd love that. He's a great guy, hard-nosed, works his butt off. Kind of got the best of me out there on the skate test, which we're not going to talk about, but unbelievable guy. So I'd be lucky to play with him.
With any D partner, predictability in your partner is an enormous. Constantly changing partners on D is, to me, one of those things that can be more detrimental than good. And having that predictability, knowing where he's going to be, just simply when a forecheck's coming in and you're getting pressured, you know you can dump it off without looking because you'll know where he's at. Absolutely.
I think that's the nice part about building chemistry with your D partner and having a guy like that. He keeps it simple, but he's real efficient. So that's real nice to be a part of. And like you said, you know where he's going to be. He's going to make the smart plays. He's going to make hard plays. He defends his ass butt off. He's a heck of a partner.
Last thing for you. You came into the Flyers last year, and it was a different D-zone coverage system. Bradshaw is a guy that's been known to really be able to maximize defenders' abilities. Talk about what Bradshaw can bring to the table for you in your pseudo-second year here in Philly.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about it before. I think, from the second I got here, you can tell he's, you can kind of describe him as a hockey genius. The way his brain works, little things that he gives you that you've never heard before, that can make a big impact. So, I'm looking forward to just a full year under his belt, pick his brain a little bit, and I'm looking forward to it.
He's a savant. It's the things that he notices, little things like where your weight's distributed on your leg against the rush, and those kind of like, geez, how are you seeing this stuff? But he does. Exactly. Jamie, thanks for doing this. Have a great camp. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So Jamie Drysdale went from a playing weight of about 178, sometimes 180, to 196 this offseason. He looks considerably more bulked up. Noticed it right away. And I had a guy, I tweeted it out yesterday that was the case for him, that he put on 18 pounds of muscle this offseason. The guy said, that's impossible. Not even Rocky can put on 18 pounds of muscle, 20 pounds of muscle in an offseason, 6 months. Well, you and I, many of us, we can put on 18 pounds. It's not going to be a muscle, but we can put on 18 pounds. And elite athletes can absolutely put on 18 pounds of muscle. We've seen it time and time again. And when you've got a full-time training staff, multiple trainers, and nutrition staff, they put it on the right way, and they can put on 18 pounds of muscle. What that muscle will do for his game, I think, a couple of things. One, he's had a couple shoulder injuries. It helps that, for sure. Gives you more confidence in board battles to be heavier and stronger, and just gives you more confidence overall as a player to be able to put that strength on, and not at the cost of his ability to skate. Now, Jamie Drysdale, he's a decently fast straight line skater, but most of his skating is more in lateral movement, the way he's able to mohawk and kind of turn his body and rotate his hips and all of those things. So it'll be interesting to see if there is any impact on his skating ability. I don't even think we saw his pure skating ability last year because he was dealing with a core injury. And still at times, it was pretty spectacular. So I look forward to seeing Jamie Drysdale, and hopefully, fingers crossed, he can put in the full 82. He mentioned that in his media availability as well, to be able to have a really good season and stay healthy. I say it all the time. The best ability is availability. All right, let's get to our last conversation from day one of camp. I've been chomping at the bit to talk to this guy since he signed that one-year contract extension with the Flyers in the offseason. He was a 2006 first overall pick by the St. Louis Blues, and he knows of the pressures that come with expectations from a top overall pick in an NHL draft. Talks about that regarding Matvei Michkov. Even though Michkov is not a number one overall pick, there's obviously a lot of buzz around Michkov and a lot of expectations. Talk about that and much more Here's my conversation with Flyers defenseman Erik Johnson. We're at Flyers main campus. It is underway. Skate test in the rearview mirror. We're sitting with Erik Johnson. First of all, congratulations on the contract. Good to see you back.
Thank you. Yeah, it's super exciting for me to return to the Flyers. First-class organization, storied history, just a great place to live and play, and I really love my time here, and super excited to be back here.
How does that roll throughout your career? You're 36 now. You were drafted back in 06. How does that roll from being a player trying to make your way to then being one that can also help other players make their way?
Yeah, I think, it's really kind of a funny thing for me. You never really think experience matters, but when I remember breaking in the league when I was 19 or whatever, and kind of you think you know it all and you have it all figured out, and you really know nothing. And being now almost 20 years later, 36, and it's just the things you can draw from in the past to help yourself and other players now is super valuable. And I understand my role is changing, won't be playing as much as I have in the past, but I'm okay with that. And I think my most important priority now is helping the young players take the next step and help them continue on the trajectory of the players that they're going to become. So
on and off the ice.
Absolutely. Just if guys are curious about certain plays and how I would maybe handle a situation, they can come to me, and they have, and I'm really happy to answer. And really fun young group of guys, great veterans as well, and it's a really fun place to come to the rink every day.
EJ, you don't play as many years as you have and continue to play and take on different roles if you don't love the game. Mm-hmm. I just get a sense from you that, you just love the game. You love the camaraderie of the room, maybe the travel. Certainly with the Flyers, it's a little easier than when you were with Colorado. But you still got that love for the game.
I do. I love coming to the rink. Even in the afternoon, I'll come back and just hang out here. I just like the facility is first class. It's one of the best in the league. And, I think down the road as the Flyers get more competitive here, I think they're going to attract some big-time free agents. When you come here, you can't but help but love the place, love the area, and just a first-class place to live and play. And the team's going to get better and better. And for me, that was part of the appeal. And I love traveling with the guys. I love coming to the rink and getting on the ice, and you just have to embrace the work and the grind, and it's tough, but you just have to adapt and roll with the punches and play. And sometimes it's really hard and there's challenges, but that's the same for anyone in any walk of life. So I try and have a great attitude with a smile on my face every day, work as hard as I can, and hopefully that can rub off on some other guys, because your career is just a snapshot in your life, so you have to make it count and just have fun with every day.
Your career has not been a snapshot, though. It's been a full-length feature. The dream growing up is to play in the best league in the world, but to play as long as you have is different. You have 987 games. You played 55 playoff games. You're going to reach that 1,000 mark this year. Has it given you way more than you ever dreamed it would when you were a kid?
Yeah, I don't even know. I mean, I think I just always played because I loved it and I was good at it. And when I was a kid, I just wanted to play college for the Gophers and in Minnesota. And I remember getting that first letter when I was 14 or 15 to all those schools in Minnesota. And then, you kind of hit different milestones, and then you realize that you can become, maybe an NHL player, maybe a really good NHL player. And for me, I didn't look too far ahead. I just kind of tried to stay in the moment while it can be difficult. And you just show up every day and you put the work in, and you learn a lot along the way, and you make some mistakes. But, hockey's given me everything, and it's a great league, and I don't take it for granted. And try and put all the work in I can in the offseason to get ready, especially for a day like today with a skate test, and try and outskate some of the young guys. But, it's just a fabulous league and a great organization to be a part of with the Flyers now.
Yeah, to say the game that's been a big part of your life would be the understatement of the world. Let me take you back to 2006. You're the number 1 overall pick by the St. Louis Blues, and there's a lot of pressure that comes with that. You have a guy, Matvei Michkov, you're represented by the same agent as him. Although not a number 1 overall pick, there's obviously a lot of excitement and anticipation and pressure. Is that something you can kind of help him through, is navigating that? He seems like a guy that is a bit of a showman and will embrace it, but there are pitfalls along the way.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be targeted early. I mean, I think guys are aware around the league how skilled he is, so, he's going to probably get a lot of the tough matchup assignments, especially on the road. Playing against other teams' best D, which is a challenge. But, I think for me, I mean, I definitely experienced some highs and lows in my time in St. Louis. Definitely felt quite a bit of pressure. But, I think for me, I felt a little more, I don't know if I was as mentally mature as I should have been to handle those expectations then. I think, for me, I matured a little bit later on in my career. It was harder for me to navigate some of those pitfalls in St. Louis, and really, it shaped me to be a better player in person. But I think Matvei's got a great head on his shoulders, and I think he's going to really do well. And I don't think the expectations will really get to him at all. I think he's going to have a fabulous career in Philly, and I don't know if he's going to have 40, 50, 60, 70, or 80 points this year, but I definitely think he's going to be a contributor, and he's going to get better as he goes. He's a Russian guy that doesn't know the language very well, hasn't played in North America, so there's going to be learning adjustments, learning curves, but you can't teach skill, and he's got a ton of it, so I think he'll be just fine. And I don't expect the trajectory to be straight up. I think it'll probably be like that, but I mean, you never know. He's got a ton of skill, and he could take to the North American game right away.
Yeah, I look back at Nikita Kucherov. It took him 4 years to become a point-per-game player. This is the most unforgiving league in the world. And I think it's weird, like the pressure that you get as a top draft pick and the pressure will get is similar but different. You're a D, last line of defense, other than the goaltender. You're not expected to put up points. Sometimes forwards are measured on points. And you can get frustrated when you're not putting up points. And I imagine everywhere he's played, he's put them up. So it's a little different, but there is a similarity there.
Yeah, and I think he's super lucky to be able to learn from Torts. I mean, Torts is demanding, but he's going to teach you to be a better player. And the toughest part to learn of the game is the defensive side. And, he's going to let him play offense how he wants, but you definitely have to defend and be able to play both ends of the ice in this league now. So
there'll be some non-negotiables.
Yeah, for sure, and that's just with anybody. It's not just him. So I think there's adjustments for every young player, no matter who you are or how good you are. So I think for him, I have no doubt that he'll have some frustrating nights, but at the end of the day, it's learning from those and being open and adapting to getting better and learning from your mistakes. And I think he's going to be just fine.
Let me ask you about, one of the things a fan lament often is, well, when the Flyers have money for free agents, is this going to be a desirable location? You obviously came here last year in a trade. You opted to stay. You wanted to stay here. You mentioned the practice facility. The facility here, the locker room at the Wells Fargo Center is absurd. Mm-hmm. It's unbelievable, those facilities. And then you see a guy like Travis Konechny, who was drafted, developed here, get the full-time commitment from the Flyers with a new 8-year deal. Do those things, all of those things, go into the equation for potential free agents and guys looking at certain places, or even trade lists?
Yeah, I think a lot of guys probably don't know how good it is here, and I think
travel's a big part of it too.
Yeah, and I think maybe some guys are worried about playing for Torts, and they don't want to go through his training camp or whatever. I think that stuff gets blown out of proportion, but winning cures all, and at the end of the day, the Flyers we're going to be good, and the team's going to be good for a long time. They're really doing it the right way, and you just kind of feel it building. I don't know how quick it'll be, but this is going to be a good team, and then when you factor that into how good the facilities are, how great Philly is to live, the passion of the fan base, the support that you get, and you're on the East Coast, you're close to New York, you're close to Europe. I mean, all these things factor in. for guys.
You sleep in your bed a lot more here than you did in Colorado.
The travel's great. I mean, it's a really big perk. You take the train certain places. This is a storied franchise, great history. It's going to be if it not already is a top tier destination, it's going to be when the team keeps getting better.
Just like development, like you talked about with Matt Vey, it's not this rocket ship. There's ups and downs to development. It's not a straight line. When you were in Colorado, you have a team, you end up getting McKinnon, you have Landeskog, and then you have the 1 year where you guys were the worst team in the league. I remember Joe Sakic was outraged that you guys didn't win the lottery. Turned out pretty good. It was the 2017 draft, and you end up getting Cale Makar, and it changes the whole dynamic. Slotting, I think, is really important, and him being able to jump in. But going through that, when you know you have really good players and you have a season like that, it's a tough thing to rebound because there's a lot of doubt that creeps in.
Yeah, and I think especially in this day and age, you have instant access to everything right away on your phone, your computer. Like, you want everything now. And that's not really how it works in sports.
Microwave society.
You have to be patient. You can't just expect a rookie to have 100 points in his first year. Like, these things take time. Everyone wants things quicker, faster, whatever. And I think in sports it can take a little bit more time, and you have to be patient. And that's what we had to do in Colorado. I mean, we got Landeskog in 2011, and then we got McKinnon in 13, and then we got Rantanen in 15, and then we got Makar in 17, and we didn't win the cup till 22. So it's like, even after we got Cale, it took 5 years. So it takes some time, and I was there for it took me 12 years till we won it. So you have to exercise patience, and we lost in the second round, I want to say 3 or 4 years in a row, and people wanted to blow up the team, and Joe stayed patient, and we ended up being rewarded for it. So sometimes you have to have that patience, and hopefully it pays off.
Yeah, I think that storyline of that arc of that team is one of the most interesting ones that I've seen in the last couple of decades. On your little board that you had yesterday for your first day of practice, first day of camp, it said, when I grow up, I want to be. And your answer was broadcaster. Have you always had a kind of a nose for broadcasting?
When I was a kid, I really loved Gary Thorne and Bill Clement.
I did too.
They were awesome. They were so much fun. Steve Levy, Barry Melrose. So I loved those guys, and I would have loved to have a career in that. And obviously, hockey is my priority and love. So obviously went that route. And I don't know. I think maybe when I'm done playing, I'd have an interest in getting into TV or whatever. Just I enjoy talking about the game. I think you can always practice and get better, and there's areas I can improve upon and maybe have different insights. So, yeah, maybe one day I'll look to do that and talk about how great the Flyers are.
The Gary Thorne could read the phone book, and it would sound incredibly exciting. He was the best, and him with Billy Clement as well. Tells you that you're up there in years if you remember those guys in the old NHL Tonight days. Last thing for you. Did you work on the starfish at all this offseason?
What is that?
When you slide and get all the arms going?
Oh, God.
I don't know if that just came about last year or that's always been in your repertoire.
Well, actually, Brad Shaw, who's the D coach here, I had him my rookie year in St. Louis, and he always taught us to slide in the 2-on-1s. And then, sometimes I slide maybe too much, or I slide to block a shot. But, I don't know. Maybe I'll work on it in camp.
There's a fine line there, because if you slide, you can take yourself off your edges.
You can look really bad or really good.
It's got to be well timed.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see.
EJ, thanks for doing this. Welcome back.
Pleasure. Thank you.
I loved when Erik Johnson said that he grew up and loved listening to Gary Thorne and Bill Clement. A lot of players on the Flyers wouldn't remember the days of Gary Thorne and Bill Clement and how great they were as broadcasters doing games on ESPN, NHL, just unbelievable stuff. Just some of the greatest broadcasting you'll ever hear. It's one of the things that I've been bummed about when ESPN got the NHL national rights split package with TNT, is that Gary Thorne didn't come back into the equation. That's unfortunate, because I think he was fantastic. Thanks to Erik Johnson. Thanks to Sean Couturier. Thanks to Jamie Drysdale. And we'll be back at it Monday with Bill Meltzer. We'll have a preseason game to talk about, one to preview. and we'll talk about all that's happened at Flyers Camp 2024. Join us then, coming up Monday on a brand new Flyers Daily.